Walter White, the pillar of excellence, the man we all strive to be. As the years have gone on, I have wondered, how would this hot-headed, egotistical kingpin handle the post-apocalyptic world of Fallout New Vegas? My name is Yesent Man, and today we will be answering the question, can you beat Fallout New Vegas as Albuquerque's methamphetamine kingpin, Walter Hartwell White? Before we begin this run, there are a few rules I must follow to ensure this playthrough is as lore-friendly as possible. Rule 1. I am not allowed to use any type of chems. This includes stim packs. While I'll be making an exception for Radaway and Radex, all other types of chems are prohibited. Rule 2. I am not allowed to wear any type of armor. I must dress as accurately as possible as Walter. This means I will be looking for a pre-war park stroller outfit, pre-war hat, and reading glasses as soon as possible. Rule 3. I'm going to be limited to pistols and explosives only, and to make it more fun, I will only be allowed to kill someone if I am attacked first. Walter White has been known to go out on killing sprees, but every time this has happened, it has been for a reason, so this rule will be put in place to prevent Walter from becoming a serial killer. Rule 4. I am not allowed to kill fiends, followers of the apocalypse, or great khans, unless absolutely necessary, as these will be my main customers for my growing drug empire. Finally, Rule 5. I am only allowed to sell chems to earn caps. The first order of business was bringing Walter to life.
How about your name? Can you tell me your name?
My name is Walter Hartwell White. I live at 308 Negra Arroyo Lane, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87104.
I can't say it's what I'd have picked for you, but if that's your name, that's your name.
While there is only so much you can do with the melted Barbie doll character creator in Fallout New Vegas, I think he turned out quite well. Next on the list was to determine Walter's special stats. Walter will begin his journey with 1 strength, 7 perception, 3 endurance, 5 charisma, 9 intelligence, 7 agility, and 8 luck. For skills, it was pretty straightforward. I planned on focusing on science, speech, and repair. As Walter demonstrates multiple times, he is an avid inventor, brilliant mind, and although a bad liar, he is able to talk his way out of many problems. For traits, I picked up 4 eyes to ensure Walter keeps his glasses on as much as possible, and Wild Wasteland because, why not? Once everything was squared away, it was time to get started. The first order of business was to steal a hat from Doc Mitchell's house, cook illegal narcotics in his living room, and finally make off with a free pair of eyeglasses. Upon leaving Doc's house, it was straight over to the general store for some good old-fashioned dealing. After making out with a few hundred caps to get me started on my journey, I hit the road, heading towards Prim. Although much prettier than the citizens of Albuquerque, I quickly discovered that the demeanor of the citizens of the Mojave Wasteland were quite similar. Heading to the Bison Steve Hotel, I was able to track down Deputy Beagle and force him to tail me to his impending death. After dispatching an assailant upstairs, I reached level 2, where all my points went into explosives and repair. I then selected the Swift Learner perk. While searching various rooms, I was lucky enough to stumble across the pre-war park stroller outfit. Unfortunately, Deputy Beagle was not able to enjoy this feat for long as he was gunned down in the hallway. After avenging him, I took the lead from his corpse and headed to Nipton. More Albuquerque-like locals tried to stand in my way, but they were no match for this high school chemistry teacher. Upon arriving in Nipton, I met Oliver, who told me about the lottery. This news meant nothing to me, so I abruptly left. After talking to the Legion, I reached level 3, where I put points into guns, explosions, and science before hitting the road once again for Novak. Finally, I arrived at Novak, where I spoke with Boone, who on this run will act as my Mike Ehrmantraut. I agreed to help him find his wife's killer, to take him along on my mission to become the richest, most powerful man in New Vegas. After some deductive reasoning, I picked the pocket of Jeannie to search her safe, and behold, in front of me, the bill of sale. After somehow convincing her to follow me at 11:30 at night into the desert, Mike blew her brains all over the Mojave landscape. Mike agreed to come along. Our first order of business was to commit a little B&E to get information off of the terminal of Manny, who had information on Benny's whereabouts. After a quick rest, Mike and I hit the road once again towards Boulder City. Upon arriving in Boulder City, I reached level 4 and put all my perks into speech and nabbed the educated perk. A quick talk with the NCR and Great Khans resulted in a peace treaty. This awarded me with Benny's lighter, location, and the ability to level up twice. Upon reaching level 5, I invested into speech, science, and explosions, and for level 6, speech, science, explosions once again, and the Swift Learner perk. Once on the road again, Mike and I were solicited by an NCR trooper who gave us an NCR emergency radio, which we would never use. Once in Freeside, more product was sold, and a fake strip passport was purchased at Mick and Ralph's to help pass the credit check. Once on the strip, it was time to confront Benny at the Tops Casino. While I was able to convince him to follow us up alone, Walter is not known to be the strongest man in the room, and I figured going in unarmed would be a one-way ticket to death. So reluctantly, I made a deal with Benny. From there, I went to talk to Mr. House, who frankly bored me enough. I figured hitting the blackjack tables was a better idea. After all, my lies had to be impeachable to Hank and Marie. After going back to my suite for a well-earned nap, I was ambushed by assassins, sent by none other than Benny. Luckily, Walter was able to make quick work of the assailants with the aid of a silenced pistol. After picking up a key, I made my way to Benny's room to scout. This is when I stumbled across Yes Man, who awarded me with level 7, which got improvements to speech and science. The next order of business was to tail Benny to Cottonwood Cove and talk with Caesar. While I had no plans on siding with the Legion, I figured it couldn't hurt to stay in their good graces for as long as possible. After fighting multiple Securitrons and turrets, the chip was installed. It was time to head back to Caesar for my reward. To round out my time at the fort, I figured the most responsible thing to do was crucify Benny.
You sick, vindictive fuck!
As I arrived back at the Lucky 38, I knew there was only one thing to do: secure my spot at the top of this empire. So it was an explosive end for Mr. House. I then headed back to the Tops to find Yes Man and upload his data to the network at the Lucky 38. Level 10 was finally here, and points were attributed to speech, sneak, and science, as well as the quick draw perk. It was time to determine the fate of 5 factions. I figured it would be best to start with the Omertas and the White Glove Society. Personally, I did not see either faction standing in the way of my future empire, so I elected to ignore them and allow them to continue their business uninterrupted. Next on the list were the Great Khans, who would prove to be the most important faction for this run. I made my way to Red Rock Canyon to speak with mutual dealers Jack and Diane. While my goal was to use them as pawns, I realized I needed to learn some recipes from them first, so I decided to do a little work for them. Their first task sent me back to Cottonwood Cove to find a missing dealer named Anders. After untying him from the cross, it was time to head back and learn the turbo recipe. Knowing I needed as many supplies as possible, I decided to tactically acquire some materials from my new friends. It was time for my second delivery mission, which had me heading towards the Crimson Caravan Company. Not wanting to risk losing a potential customer, I snuck past a local fiend and successfully delivered the package. The last delivery had me heading to Vault 3. This proved to be the most challenging aspect of the run yet. As stated in the rules portion of my video, I'm not allowed to kill any fiends unless absolutely necessary. So Walter, being the surrogate Chad he is, was able to run by the assailants narrowly and right into the vault. A successful delivery meant it was time to rest up before attempting my journey back to Red Rock Canyon. On my way out of the vault, I was ambushed by a fiend that left me no choice. I gunned her down mercilessly. This caught the attention of more fiends, which resulted in me once again running for my life. Luckily, I was able to avoid the assailants and make it back to Red Rock Canyon. I rounded out the Abba Dabba honeymoon questline by teaching Jack some recipes. Next on the list were the boomers. On my way to Nellis, I stopped by the Mormon fort to pick up my old pal Jesse. I figured it would be a great time to cook some crystal, but Jesse, being such a constant screw-up, had no supplies for the cook.
You actually this stupid?
I don't know.
You don't know. You know why you don't know? Because you don't think. That's why. You don't think. You never figured out how to think.
Angered, I pressed on to Nellis, surviving the bombardment of artillery strikes before coming face to face with the Queen Boomer herself, Pearl. I respectfully told her to piss off and was on my way back to the strip. Only one faction remained, the Brotherhood of Steel. I figured the best course of option was to let Jesse go and stop by Novak to pick up Mike for one final mission. On my way to the Hidden Valley bunker, a brilliant idea popped into my head, which resulted in a quick detour to the RepCon facility. After dealing with some Albuquerque locals that had had a little too much of my product, I found what I was looking for, conveniently sitting in an ash pile, a stealth boy. From here we pushed over the hill to Hidden Valley, where we met the Brotherhood of Steel. They were not particularly happy to see us and decided to gaslight us into doing their dirty work with the aid of a bomb collar. I successfully scared off the NCR Ranger, as requested, and made my way back to the bunker, where the Elder foolishly gave me full access to the bunker. I knew the Brotherhood was a huge risk to my growing empire, so I waited for the opportune moment to pickpocket the Elder for his keycard. After securing the keycard, I headed to find one with the head paladin and scribe. It was finally time to destroy the Brotherhood of Steel bunker once and for all. With the aid of my stealth boy, I was able to evacuate before the entire bunker imploded. Feeling good, I returned to the Lucky 38, where Yes Man informed me of an impending assassination attempt on the NCR president. However, I was unbothered by the idea of President Kimball painting Hoover Dam with his brains, so I elected to ignore the request and head off to the final location before the Battle of Hoover Dam. After a quick upgrade to my revolver, Mike and I headed to the El Dorado substation to install Yes Man's override module. After being threatened by the NCR, we ignored the request and entered the building to install the module. Their threats were as empty as President Kimball's skull. As exiting the substation, they had no reaction to us ignoring their demands. Level 12 was swiftly awarded, where speech was maxed, repair and science were raised, and the robotics expert perk was obtained. Upon arriving back at the Lucky 38, I informed Yes Man that we were ready to seize the dam. Unfortunately, upon arrival, some great cons had to be killed. Yes Man, Mike, and I made our way inside the fort. Upon exiting, we headed over to the Legion's fort to conclude our mission. After dispatching the final few legionaries, Heisenberg came face to face with the legate himself.
Stay out of my territory.
The last step was to deal with General Lee Oliver.
What the hell? No, get away from me, you goddamn TV on wheels.
And just like Albuquerque before it, Walter Hartwell White had conquered the Mojave Wasteland. Thank you for checking out my first video here on the channel. If you enjoyed it and would like to see more content like this, consider subscribing and leaving a like on the video. Until next time, this has been the Yesent Man. Thank you for watching.